Well, hey world.
Oh, we're back.
It's good to see you. I missed you so much.
Screens.
So many screens.
I'm excited.
I see that. You did a little Frank the Tank action. Here's your water, buddy.
I'm glad that you
I'm gonna spill
understood what
if that's
that
important
was.
to me.
Not on my computer, you're not.
Mm-mm.
Hello, people signing in. Look at this.
Who
it's
is
like
it?
becoming a little show.
Name 2 people that just signed in.
Nope.
Oh,
Stephanie, L, J-Pin, what up?
nice. Okay.
Joseph.
Oh, calls on. Nice.
It's awesome. Good to see you guys.
Nice. Perfect.
So cool. So we're back for round 3 now.
This is round 3.
This is round 3 of this beautiful show.
In the best way possible, it does feel like we've done a lot of these, or at least it's taken a long time.
That doesn't sound great.
That's why I started it. Preface it with this doesn't. Yeah, it's okay. No, but
Talking
it's been
fitness
awesome.
or cookies. So we're talking fitness and cookies. How you do fitness for the cookies.
All right, breakout session. 15 seconds about cookies. Go. Favorite cookie is
Oatmeal raisin.
Oh, really? I'm a chocolate chip dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
milk.
classic.
Milk or no milk?
Almond milk with honey.
Okay,
It's a
cool.
healthy cookie binge. That's what we're talking about.
All right, well, that's our favorite cookie. Done.
It is.
That was a good breakout. If anyone else wants another breakout session, you
Oatmeal
just
raisin
let
for
us
life.
know.
We got people that love. Okay, we have a world divided. Oatmeal raisin, chocolate chip cookies.
Are there any other ones?
There's
though?
a battle.
I used to love snickerdoodles. I think snickerdoodles now kind of are a little bit on my like lower love list.
I feel like those were big in the 80s or the 90s.
Did we just date ourselves or myself maybe?
Yourself.
Yeah.
Robin, what's up, dude? All right, so we have some fun things to talk about today. I think that they're
I think they're
fascinating.
fun and they're exciting, and you're going to be able to take something away from it
Yes,
on a personal level and on any other level that you want to fit in instead of personal level.
indeed.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a house of learned doctors. You're a doctor.
Man.
I'm not.
I'm not. I mean, I can go with it. I'm called the doctor often, and I just let it roll at this point.
What's out there now?
Okay, so I put enough time and money to become a doctor, though, so that's all that matters. All right, so
Yep.
Joe, first time you feel that you were ever talked into doing something that you weren't comfortable doing.
Is this still about food?
It can be. It can be about food at that point. So the first time you feel like you did something, that you were talked into something that we can call peer pressure.
Peer pressure.
What do you think?
Peer pressure.
What was that first thing? I was trying to think of it myself. I don't know if I can think about it. I think that I've been on the other end of the person who tried to peer pressure people.
You were the peer pressure.
I may have been that bad person.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but I'm okay. I'm okay letting everybody know that. I don't
You
think
seem
it's a problem.
persuasive, so I get
It
that.
depends on the day. But peer pressure. And if you can't remember the first time, recall the last time, because I know my last time. It happened to be on Sunday. But
I mean, I remember being peer pressured to drink for the first time.
oh my gosh, now that you say that, I don't know why that didn't pop in my head. Okay, tell me where were you?
I was in high school.
Okay.
That's a lot right there. I was in high school and I got, we were at a house party.
Yeah.
And I never drank before. I was a very good kid. And then I got peer pressured by some of my friends of just like, we had this whole house to ourselves. There was alcohol and the parents in the house ready
Yeah.
to go. We had
Sure.
like 7, 8 people with us.
Mm-hmm.
It was just one of those situations. There was a girl that I liked as well that liked to party. It was my senior year of high school and I never drank before. And that was the night that I broke.
That was it.
I
Were
did.
you trying not to drink?
Yeah, I was trying not to because I was in the middle of baseball season and that was important to me. But I actually
Yeah.
ended up breaking based on what everybody else was doing at that party.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
To hear about. Now that you bring this up, and maybe I just had a hard time recalling this, but mine was also in high school. Mine was in high school. I was trying not to drink. I did live a pretty, I'm not gonna say clean lifestyle, but I would say not any alcohol. There were no recreational drugs during high school, really, just because I was so focused on sports, right?
Yeah.
And I remember it was a party. And do you want to know what we did? The game was throw a dart at a bullseye and if you don't get a bullseye, you have to chug from the vodka bottle. That was the game.
That sounds like a fun game.
It was an intense game. That was my first experience. And I was like, this is drinking? That's crazy.
It is though.
Yeah, but that's what it was. So like, was there someone that was pushing you to be that like kind of like to drink, or do you feel like maybe that girl kind of?
It was kind of the girl, man. I wanted to be cool.
Yeah.
And like, yeah.
Okay. Well, tell me, do you think that it's something that how? Let's kind of bring it into a situation now, right? So let's kind of bring it into, I think food ends up being a really big struggle for a lot of people.
It's huge with
right?
social pressures.
And whether it's friends or not, I even got a text just today, just maybe less than an hour ago, about a guy saying, you know, we have a work event, it's at a pizza place, I'm just trying to stay on goals, what can I end up doing, right?
Yes.
Definitely helped him out in the moment, was able to give him that kind of information. I was happy to do it, but it was something where like he doesn't yet, there's no peer pressure in that moment, but I know what I told him, he can apply it, but at the same time, it can easily break, and so that's kind of tough. So when it comes to food though, I feel that we have a lot of people that maybe can be, I'm not gonna say a bad influence, but an influence in maybe not the way that where your goals are coming out of, right? So thinking about food, let's think about a food situation, kind of like where, you know, the alcohol kind of thing.
Dude, I like honestly, so I'll tie this into something real quick to give because Elle just even said like it's really hard not to drink when your friends are doing this, and this is exactly why Ryan and I wanted to talk today. Is, you know, there's one thing to talk about, I think, fitness and nutrition from a this is what you should do perspective.
Yeah.
And here's like the plan and here's what works, and it sounds really good, but giving a plan is not enough, because there's actual real life situations where, you know, when Ryan and I were talking, we were like, there's nights where you're gonna go out on a rooftop and your friends are gonna be drinking. There's you know, times when you're trying to eat healthy, but your friends around you like don't do that, or it's new to see that like you haven't been doing that, so they look at you and they're like, why are you eating healthy now? Like what
Sure,
changed?
it becomes
right?
uncomfortable at that point.
So I remember my time when I started to change gears and start to eat healthy. I was not a healthy eater, by the way, guys. I actually ate very unhealthy for a very long time. Like I had Pop-Tarts as a kid, like Lucky Charms, donuts for breakfast. Like I did that shit for a long time.
Yeah.
And when I started to eat healthy,
Is that your cereal? That's your cereal of choice?
it was actually
Lucky Charms.
I went to Cinnamon Toast. Cinnamon Toast was
Cinnamon
my
Toast
favorite.
Crunch.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
that was my
I
favorite.
think I was just a pretty simple like Honey Nut Cheerios dude.
It's so boring, bro. Oh my god,
I
Ryan,
know.
What the hell?
That's me. That was like,
Ryan's
that's me
eating-
getting wild.
Ryan's eating Cheerios. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I broke you.
But I think like, so what we wanted to chat about was that whole pressure of what that's like and how you overcome, you know, your peer group when you're trying to eat healthy and people are not used to you doing that, or you're getting into a new fitness routine and you are not normally doing that, but you're trying to start a new habit and your friends are like, dude,
Sure.
why aren't you having fun with me? Why can't you have a burger right now?
What's going on? Just come on. This is nothing. This
Right.
Is, come on. Just live it up a little bit.
Live
Why
it
being
up.
so strict?
Dude, yes.
That
Those
makes
are the
it
words
so
you hear
hard.
all the time.
It's really uncomfortable. Do you want to go to some of these stats over here?
I do. So
I
this
think
is
it's really
very
interesting.
fascinating, actually, because peer
Yeah.
pressure is a real thing when it comes to this stuff, and who you hang out with has a big influence. So Ryan found some stats on this stuff.
So this
which
was
are fascinating.
this was interesting, and maybe we can ask this, and you guys can answer in your head, because that will solidify this a little bit more. Because I was doing this with Joe actually before, and I said, hey Joe, did you know that your risk of I'm gonna put it this way. I'm gonna make sure that it's your friends that maybe make less beneficial choices. They may be overweight, maybe obese, but your friends that make less beneficial choices. If you are hanging out with friends that make less beneficial choices, Joe, do you know what percentage it is that you may also become a person that makes less beneficial food choices?
Well, you told me this.
I did, man. But
So
like,
57%.
that was good. That was good. But it's to 57%. And I think that's a really high number, right?
I think it's huge.
And this is what I was thinking about, about what's the percentage of people that aren't thinking so fitness forward or health forward, right? Nutrition forward, protein forward, fiber forward, all that kind of stuff, right? Let's say that it's the other way around. Is it the same thing? Do you think that if you have friends that also think, let's say you have a friend that, maybe doesn't think so healthy.
Yes.
How much does it really influence them? Is it 57% too, or do you think it's more? Like, what side do you think is actually more persuasive? I'm gonna say I think it's the less beneficial choices because it's easy and it's fun and it's sexy. The sexy side of making choices, especially in those social situations, is not going to be the fiber food or the push-up side. Right?
Yo, yeah, man. This goes down to like, so instant gratification versus like a long-term result, right? So there's like two types of pain. Like you can have the pain of discipline, which means you're going to like, you know, for lack of a better word, suffer in the short term to get a long-term result.
Okay.
And so it's easy to say, I'm going to have a drink and a burger now, but then you suffer in the long term for your result.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So I get that totally.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has to do with phase of life a little bit though too, where you are kind of in your own little journey. Because like now I'm not going to be so impacted by those people because I'm so clear on what I want to be doing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? So I know I've done the other side where I've been persuaded and I hate it. So I'm like, it just won't happen to me anymore.
Sure.
In that world.
Yeah.
Right? So, but when I was younger and doing this, it was a huge impact.
For sure.
I was hanging out with people that were drinking, so like, you know, I used to get very frustrated. I would be so on point with everything. I'd be healthy, I'd be dialed in with stuff, and then by the weekend when everybody's just drinking and losing their minds, I would go down a slope too, just because I'm around it.
Yeah. It's like I don't want to be the only one. It's like
right,
That's kind of tough. So for everyone kind of just coming in right now, I know a bunch of you have, but we're talking about kind of peer pressure around like food choices and basically fitness is what we're going to get into. So we do want to start talking a little bit about maybe ways to answer some of those situations and answer some of those challenges. But just I wanted to go a little bit further on this because it's very far-reaching in terms of the people that you end up hanging out with. And I don't want this message to come across. And Joe, maybe we can talk about how to deal with this because I don't exactly have an answer at the moment.
Okay.
But the message should not be, when we kind of talk a little more about this, it should not be, I'm going to dump my friends that maybe don't make good food choices or are overweight or obese. That's not the message that we want to be giving, right?
No.
Like if we have a friend that just refuses to kind of like do fitness, right? Like we're not going to just dump them. Like we want to figure out how to just answer this challenge. That's really all we want to do. And we know that a lot of people have these questions as well. And if you guys have those, please let us know so that we can maybe touch on those a little bit during the Q&A.
For sure.
But as I just said, if you have a bunch of friends that are obese or overweight and they're people who don't make great food choices, you're 57% more likely to make those similar food choices.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop there though. And I thought this to me was even more amazing. There's these degrees of separation. So that's the first degree. But the second degree of separation, so a friend of a friend, you still are at risk of becoming someone who makes less beneficial food choices or fitness choices, right? And so if you end up like basically having a friend of a friend that's obese, that ends up increasing your risk by about 20%. And that 20% is a little bit scary in the way that it can affect you and it not be right in front of you.
Yes.
Right? Do you feel that way?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do.
Even further, and it's less at this point, but further, a third degree, a friend of a friend of a friend, or how do we say this? If a friend of a friend's friend is
That's
someone,
so far away. That's so far removed.
That's where it I think it's removed, and I think I think that might hit home, is that the people you surround yourself with can make these decisions, but a friend of a friend's friend, if they're someone who makes less beneficial food choices or lifestyle choices, you're at a 10% increased risk of making those similar food choices. So it's not that, and you were joking about this earlier, about interviewing someone that you just met, be like, wait a second, I don't want to go further in this friendship because I want to get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, it's just about like being careful who you associate with, and I think like this data is just like backing up the fact of some things that we've heard of, like you are your peer group, you are the 5 people you kind of hang around with, right?
Yeah.
You become the average, and I think that that's what a lot of people know. The thing that I don't think that a lot of people take seriously is maybe understanding the actual impact that this does to your subconscious, which is like basically your stats are proving, right? Like there's a huge subconscious factor, and I know that the standards of the people that you surround yourself with, those become your standards.
Yeah.
So I all of a sudden start hanging out with, like, you know, you look at my peer circle now and who I'm hanging around with, it's some of the craziest athletes, right? I'm talking to you about nutrition all the time.
Yeah.
I'm talking with people that are so locked in with their training. I'm surrounded by that community. So I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my life because I'm so locked in with what I'm around.
You're
right?
pretty good, dude.
Thank you. I feel really good.
Okay, I'm glad.
Which is important. But it's a huge factor. Something that I did when I was like in my early 20s that my brother had this was this little trick that I thought was interesting. He called it the board of directors.
Oh,
so
I'm intrigued.
he would take, so this is a cool exercise, guys, because who you hang around with is of utmost importance. It's not just about fitness and nutrition. He would take a journal and he would just put himself in the center. So you draw yourself in the center, right? Like you're the CEO of your life, right?
Yeah.
Then you would choose who the 5 most influential people in your life are today.
How old was he when he did this?
When we did this, he was maybe like 27.
Never mind. I was like picturing like a 13-year-old doing this.
Oh, no.
Like amazing.
No. So you say current state, who's influencing your life today? Who do you talk to the most right now, right? Mm-hmm. Then you go, how do they perceive you, right? What would they say about you?
Okay.
And then you write down, what do you want them to say about you?
Okay.
So who do you want to become and how do you want to act?
Yeah.
Right? And then taking it a step further, now you see who you hang around with today and who's influencing you, and you go, do I actually want to be around these people as much as I am today?
Sure, yeah.
So you start to make a new board of directors of like, I actually want this person to be someone I associate with more, and they don't even have to know that, but you are just putting yourself closer in proximity to those people.
I love that idea.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a conscious behavior of I'm choosing my board members because it impacts your life.
Yeah.
So you love everybody else that's not on your maybe your board, but these are the people that are impacting your subconscious and your decisions in your life. So you're still friends with everybody else.
Yeah.
You're not telling other people I'm not going to hang out with you, but you're just limiting the time and putting more into those people that you think are going to benefit.
I think it's an amazing activity. I think that it's something that can be a little bit scary when you realize that maybe your circle isn't as big or as important or as necessary as it needs to be.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but I think it's a good self-audit. I think everyone should kind of do that, whether they are trying, like whatever their goals are. I think that's definitely important. If someone does have like, I think that's a good even like nutrition type of thing to do with like some of the people that I end up working with. Like, let's just look at your life. Like, you're doing so many things right now. Like, if you end up having these challenges, why don't we look into other things around you? That's such a good activity. If anyone else has done that before, let us know. But
I wonder if we can, do you want to bring in Elle right now to chat? Elle, are you down to chat? She has some good questions about this. Like, what about the people that you can't help to be around? Like teammates and coworkers.
I've been wanting to use this feature for
so long. You want to do this?
Yeah.
Yo, Elle, I'm going to invite you in.
Elle, we're going to give you 5 minutes on. Wait, maybe? How long to give?
Yo, we're just going to do this.
Okay, I love this. I just thought
we're gonna go head on right now.
Okay, let's do this.
If this works. But I mean, yeah, dude, I think this is everything.
Yeah.
Because when I was doing this nutrition stuff, like, people thought I was crazy in the beginning. Mm-hmm. So I would get peer pressured into eating bad food all the time. Yeah. What's up? You did it.
Hey, Elle.
Wasn't planning this, sorry.
Either were we, though.
It's the best part.
Other people on different phones and screens don't see you, so it may be a little bit confusing. So we might have to repeat some things you say. That's okay, though. Everyone's nodding.
All right. So you're asking about coworkers. Like, what about people you can't help but be around?
So I play volleyball for a javelin in college, and while I have some teammates that are super like into fitness with me, I also have a lot of teammates that are into partying and being college students. You know?
Okay. Yeah. Well, do you have to be around? Like, you have to be around these people often, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to break this down just for you for a second, Joe. Do you know where your occipital lobe is?
No.
Okay, it's part of your brain, right? If anyone else knows, that's pretty cool. But there's an actual part of your brain that does end up helping you make those decisions while you're with your friends. And it's kind of that part in the back of your head over here, the occipital lobe over. And so that's the part that's firing either, you know, in your definition correctly or incorrectly. So there's actually something happening right there. So it's this biological push for you to do it. So it's going to take a biological type of activity for you to kind of fight back at that. And you need to kind of practice these kind of things and say those kind of things out loud. It's almost like looking in a mirror or doing like watching yourself. You said volleyball, right? Like playing volleyball or doing something and watching yourself be successful or thinking about yourself being successful. You have to be able to say these things out loud to rewire yourself a little bit. So those kind of activities of being able to say, okay, you know what, Susan's gonna give me a little hard time tonight if I'm gonna stop at one drink, right? And I really want to make sure that I don't upset Susan, and if I do, that might kind of like, you know, we're teammates and might make it uncomfortable. We room together, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be able to kind of like break that down. One, though, I think that you have to be able to have the confidence to say something, right? I think the most difficult thing is to think that you're going to hurt someone's feelings, but that's just someone usually catastrophizing the situation.
True.
So you really want to make sure that you're thinking, okay, like someone's not going to get upset if I say that, and I'll bet you, if anything, either she or someone around you at that point is probably thinking the same thing that you do. Now, this isn't my idea, but this came up. Everything else was though. But and I still have to kind of like let this sit with myself for a second. But I read this thing about the words regardless and nevertheless, okay? So again, it's the language that you end up using. And when someone pushes back in that kind of situation, they say, come on, it's just one more drink. Or hey, you know, in some scenarios, someone says like, why don't we just go out and like, we just get another appetizer, like this kind of thing. But I got my goals though, whatever's going on. Someone says like, no, just do that. And instead of saying no again, you can always kind of come back to like, yeah, but regardless, I think I'm gonna kind of like, I think we'll just pass off. I love being here with you, and like, I think we can just get that. The word regardless, or saying nevertheless, like nevertheless, I'm probably not gonna have it. Like, you're not saying no, and it's almost like a nicer way of saying it. And there's many other ways to do it as well, but just making sure that you're approaching it in a way that maybe, one, that you're confident in saying it, like making sure that you're practicing it, like just know what the situation is and how you don't want to be in it, and then practice a different kind of language, right? That usually helps people.
Love that.
I definitely have the issues. I have horrible FOMO. Like, when all my friends are out, I want to be out with them.
Yeah.
So that's my, like, 100% biggest issue is I want to be able to go out, be sober, have a good time with them,
Sure.
not miss out on anything.
Yeah.
Do you think you have a problem or like
And just so you guys know, we're talking about FOMO right now.
FOMO is
so
real.
Elle is
It's
telling
real, by
us
the way.
that like she wants to be out there, like so she doesn't want to just say no. She wants to be out there.
Do you feel comfortable like going out and hanging out with your friends and not drinking? Like, are you okay with doing that? Like, do you feel comfortable in that situation? That's cool. I'm all about being social and doing that. But like, yeah, as long as they're not influencing you. Huh? What?
I'm always sober.
Me
You're
too.
always sober,
Me
yeah.
too.
Yeah, you're the sober guy.
I'm the sober guy.
Okay.
Unless it's a wedding.
Hey man, just gotta step it up and be fun.
I think I'm
So-
fun sometimes.
Yeah, you're fun. Yeah, you're fun, dude.
But yeah. Well, thanks, Elle. You feel good?
Yeah, thanks.
All right. You're awesome.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I'm hoping that's helpful. I feel like it definitely comes down to the language of what you want to be telling people, and it can be broken down in so many different kind of situations, like where maybe if someone keeps pushing you to do something that you don't want to do, and whatever the situation might be, Joe,
Yeah.
you can make sure that
situations.
you end up just kind of changing the subject, right?
Which is
Maybe
it's a good
somehow you can
strategy.
do it, yeah.
It's a good strategy.
However you can do that, right? Do you want to try one?
Are you serious?
Let's do it.
All right. Whatever.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right, here. You're gonna do this. You're gonna try and resist something here.
Oh, how to avoid a
kind of an
drink.
idea. Yeah, let's do it.
Joe.
Come on, just have another drink, man.
No, thank you. I'm not drinking this. Evening.
Done. Just did it.
It's over.
Okay, look, it's just being able to say. It's just practicing. But if you guys have any questions about that, especially coming from a nutrition standpoint, I definitely have some. Let's call them handouts. I can give you something that can definitely help you guys out. But again, it's just about practicing and kind of rewiring yourself. There is something going on within your head. It's going on right in the back of the occipital lobe, right in the back of your head, in the occipital lobe. So just be aware that that is going to be something that you like. It's something that's actually happening.
Yo, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's a few things that I think. So I love to having a decoy drink is I think something that you can do too. Some people do that, right?
yeah,
so
yeah.
even if you're out drinking with friends and stuff like that, like just have a drink and make it look like tonic water and put in like a slice of fruit and like it looks like vodka and tonic, whatever.
Yep.
Right?
Totally. Yeah.
So if you got to feel comfortable doing that, I think that there's something to that. That's fine. Something else that I do as well if I'm trying to keep myself disciplined is I'll set a routine up for the next morning. So if I'm out for like a social gathering, I'll set up like a workout in the morning, and I might even have people join me so there's like accountability into it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, yo, I'm out, guys, but like, yo, I gotta bounce at like midnight because like I'm getting up at 7 or whatever. I got this workout to do.
Yeah.
Right? There's something that you're even feeling good about. You're leaning
I love
into
that.
it, and then you're keeping accountability.
I'm glad you brought that up because I thought when we were talking the other day about this, because we try and plan now. This has become a thing. So,
Yeah, it's a thing now.
but Joe brought that up in terms of like kind of putting some structure around that night, right? What did you say? Like nothing good ever happens after like midnight.
Yeah, I have a
whatever you
rule like
said.
nothing good
that,
happens
yeah.
after midnight.
Yeah, I think people have heard that before, but I think it's bring it up. I think that's such a good thing to kind of like know like nothing probably is gonna happen at this point.
It's all downhill.
But I love, and I don't know if we talk about this so much or it's just sitting in my head, but you know, maybe you have that friend or that coworker or whoever it is that's kind of pushing you to like stay out longer or whatever, but kind of get them on board too. Like, man, I'm out with you, but I just want you to know, like, it's going to make that workout tomorrow that much harder, right? Whether it's going to be like a, whatever kind of workout.
Yeah,
you
man. Because like, so you talked about like bringing up the conversations like to these people as well, right? And like, I think that's important because like when you're in a group setting, usually somebody's feeling the same way that you're feeling, but nobody's talking about it.
Yeah.
And we talked about that too. So like if you're the person that like brings up like, yo, like I don't know if I want to be out that late tonight, but I kind of want to go do this. The reality is that now as I've vocalized this stuff more, people want to feel good. They want to feel energized.
Sure.
And most people take their career seriously and their health pretty seriously.
Yeah.
So it's actually like, let's create accountability and be like, yo, let's go plan some workouts together or a hike or whatever. And to me, all of this is not about deprivation or so much or being over disciplined. It's just shifting your focus of what we value as being fun. Because societally, there's such a thing with like drinking and overeating that is created. Like it's like that's how we bond. Like that's how we socially
That's how we show
interact
love.
and bond.
I mean, tell me someone in your life that hasn't shown you love through food or through
Totally.
a drink or like whatever it is. That's everybody. That's how I grew up, and that's like a lot of people grew up, right? It's culturally.
Yes.
So it's tough. It's tough to say no to culture. It's tough to say no to love. It's tough to say no to those people. You know, grandma just kind of made more cookies. You know, someone's aunt just made like extra stuffing or something for Thanksgiving. You got to eat this. You have to do this, right?
Happens all
And
the
that's
time.
when I end up talking to people about more like we talk about that biological hunger we brought up here before and the psychological hunger. And psychological hunger, I think that it gets this identity of only crying in bed alone where you're eating, and it's so not, right? It's exactly what Elle said. It's like that psychological eating ends up becoming emotional sometimes, but it's more about your environment. It's more about certain things like just your like the structure that you've kind of gone through. I'm forgetting all them right now. Why? There's like you can kind of label them all through, but there's so many different ways that psychological eating kind of comes in.
Yeah.
So you just kind of have to be aware of it. Be ready for it. That's all.
Yeah, it's not just you, and it's not like something's wrong with you in these peer pressure situations of like, oh, I should give in. Like I did used to feel that way. I did used to feel like, why am I being so disciplined with my eating? I would actually beat myself up when I was younger doing this. And now I look at it as like, just I have some standards, I have some goals that I want to hit. So it does help either way to have a bigger yes so that you have a reason to say no to things.
Whoa, hold on. Back up. What did you just say? It sounds powerful.
It is powerful, yeah.
That sounds powerful. Can you say it again?
Vision, man. Make sure that you have a more compelling yes or a bigger yes so that you can say no to things.
I love that.
Right? So anchor yourself to something. So if you can have very specific vision, I don't really like goal setting per se, but like I will say I love vision of like what you envision yourself to be, what you envision yourself accomplishing. And if you can be like, all right, I want to, finish a marathon this year, and you take that seriously, well, then you have steps that you need to accomplish, and your training is serious. So it's easier for me in a social setting than say proudly and confidently, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm doing this. This is more exciting to me.
Sure.
Right? Not just, no, I don't want to, because, right, anchor it to something, and I think it's
good. I love that. That is really powerful. Glad you said that. I think people want to hear that kind of
pow.
Yeah, man, that was good. Shot in the mouth in a good way.
Yeah,
in
man.
a good way.
Yeah,
That was good. So that is that's all about the kind of peer pressure. Anything. There was one thing you just said, and I wanted to tag on to, and I thought, oh, I want to tag on to. This is kind of personal for me. A lot of people look at me in certain situations, and I feel like they're judging me, and then people think I'm judging them.
Ooh,
right? So
interesting.
I almost think, oh, I don't want to feel like they're being judged, therefore I will now eat like them, and that's like a really hard thing coming from someone in our world. And I'm sure that people out there end up feeling that way too, especially like a lot of our fitness friends, right? A lot of our nutrition friends, they end up feeling that kind of way. And just coming back from that, and again, kind of like standing your ground, be like, I am healthy, right? Being able to kind of be really strong in that. I wanted to say that. That's just because that's something I feel, but I feel that I've kind of worked through that a little bit.
Yeah,
and it's been tough.
Like, be confident in it. I think it's a good point. So like, I'll share this with you guys because I bet you most of you can relate to this. I now work in the fitness industry, but it was not always that way. I did used to be in sales, and I was travel on the road, and I would have to entertain clients. And I remember when I tried to eat healthy in the beginning, it impacted, or it seemed to impact, my ability to network with clients. Like I would have to go out, take them to steak dinners, or go out with like coworkers, and we would have wine, and that's how people did all their stuff.
Sure.
But bigger than that, even with family, if we were out to any type of celebration, my family was not eating very healthy at the time, so they would have like all these just burgers, red meat, all that kind of stuff, and just fried foods. And I used to eat that stuff, and when I stopped, they'd be like, "What's wrong with you? Live a little bit." Going back to what we talked about. And I will tell you guys that pressure is very real in the beginning, because I think that when you're starting to change and go through this evolution yourself, relationships that you have with people will change in their world. You're almost messing up their relationship that they have with you, because they see you in a certain light.
Yeah.
So the second you start to change how you do things, you're rocking their world a little bit. They're like, we do this together. You operate this way. Why are you changing? And so they don't know how to deal with it yet.
Exactly, and not in the fun way either. So now it's a negative kind of thing compared to like being on the other side where someone's pushing more drinks or more food or whatever on you. Like that's the fun side. So there's just it's a big challenge, and so just know other people are having those challenges.
So the light at the end of the tunnel of this is that in the early stages, people were like, "Why are you doing this? Like, live a little, relax." Once I started to see results in my own life, where like I was healthier. They started to see like workout performance improve, whatever.
Yeah.
They saw the benefits start to happen after several months. Then friends would start getting on the phone with me and being like, "I can't believe you were so disciplined. How did you do it? I want to cut down on my drinking. How do you eat? Like, how do you exercise more?" My mom started to eat healthier. She was inspired. She's eating like almost like she's changed her eating habits entirely. She started to go work out, 3 times a week. My brother went plant-based. He started to like sign up for marathons. He's doing the Chicago Marathon this year. Like he was never doing that type of stuff. So stay true to what you're trying to do, because in the beginning it's tough, but towards the other side you start to inspire people that are close to you in your circle.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I feel like that tipping point is it's uncomfortable until that finally happens.
Yes, totally. It is. You gotta kind of walk alone for a second, I think.
Look, you've had so many good lines so far this whole night.
Max, banana bread is still always in my diet.
Is that a cookie?
It's an inside joke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Max's pregame.
All right.
He eats banana bread. I saw him do it.
So where else do we end up seeing some of these challenges, food challenges, fitness challenges? It's something around travel, right? So
Dude, so tough.
travel, and I end up working with so many people, and a lot of people come to me within like for nutrition questions and challenges with like lifestyle habits, and it's something where okay, let's just fix this right now. And people have said this to me before as well. Well, I'm only in the city for like 3 days a week, so I can be good then, but I'm not going to do what we're talking about when I'm away, right? So they're basically spending the majority of their week just doing whatever they want without keeping themselves accountable. Now with nutrition, that can make things a lot more challenging, and I would appreciate them kind of trying to apply some things that we would talk about for those 3 days, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let that go. But I think that it's something where like what we wanna make sure we're doing is taking some of these habits that we start building, and it's not gonna be so defined by a location or by a holiday or not a holiday, a work event or not a work event. there's a lot of things that we can always talk about to make sure that someone is making lifestyle habits not so volatile, right? And so when I end up talking about the prioritized lifestyle kind of thing, it's about like, even in those situations about like being on vacation or being out at work, whatever, it's about the things, the choices you can make that you need to make sure you're doing before you start turning to things that you feel like aren't in line with your goals, right? And you can do that whether you're going to be at work, whether you're going to be on vacation, whether you're at a work event, whatever's going on, right? We want those things. One thing in particular that's helped some people, it's called my rule of 3. And it kind of plays off some of these things too, but I end up talking about the rule of 3, and I'm sure there's kind of a fitness thing like in here as well that you maybe can like prioritize for some people. But when I end up talking to most people, we talk about kind of timing of meals, eating about every 4 hours, right? That just helps find some control and builds a kind of a base. But I also mentioned like prioritizing protein and fiber and hydration.
Yeah.
But when someone starts traveling or when someone's on vacation, I still say, you know what, it's not that you have to be so strict and like shoot down things you want to be doing or have an enjoyable time, because you need to do those. You need to kind of rest and relax, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But kind of just keeping your mind a little bit on like your eating habits, right? So like, say if you just don't eat the whole time when you're away, well then you're going to compromise muscle mass, you're not going to feed yourself well, you're probably not going to have enough energy.
Yes.
So I do tell people, I'm like, well, why don't you just keep in mind around that every 4 hour mark? Around that every 4 hour mark, just keep in mind about getting some kind of food and things that are going to prioritize muscle maintenance, and that's going to be protein, fiber, whatever else. But I'll say like, usually what I'll hear from someone is like, hey, I'm going to get up really early, I'm going to hop in a cab, I'm going to go to the airport, and airport has nothing open at that time, so like I'm just not going to eat anything. And so they like hop on to JetBlue, and they're on JetBlue, and like JetBlue's giving them a bunch of cookies and snacks because like they're starving at that point, right? They're like, I'm so hungry, I really just need to eat whatever.
True.
So now they're eating whatever JetBlue's going to give them, and they're going to get off, and like they just ate some food that's like digesting really quickly, and then they're going to be hungry when they get off the plane, and then they're going to make decisions about like what's in front of them. Their environment is now deciding what they're going to end up eating. And that really is what throws people off their goal more times than not. So what I want to make sure that they end up doing, I'm like, okay, stick around the every 4 hours or so. Like, pack these snacks, make sure you have them, but make meals out of snacks basically. Like my rule of 3, I end up saying, well, find a protein, a fiber, and a healthy fat, right? Have it ready to go like in your bag, or in your bag at the airport or on the plane or in your hotel room, because if you end up kind of surveying your environment, and the only things around you are going to be some really like crappy like fast foods, right? Like you can still find healthy fast foods, and that's all well and good, but like if there's only going to be like cookies and like pretzels and stuff like that in the plane, you want to be able to have stuff that's going to be more satiating, that's going to be more muscle maintaining, all that kind of stuff, right? So I would want to make sure someone's kind of like packing things like protein, like dry roasted edamame, maybe a protein bar, maybe a jerky, like that kind of stuff. Pack some things like fiber, like a dried fruit, if that's going to end up helping you. Things like that dry roasted edamame can end up being another good source of fiber. Fiber crackers could be something. And even healthy fat, like I call them like those bodega packs of nuts, right? Like 100 calorie pack if you want to, but get more than that. Or like those little peanut butter, like packets from like Trader Joe's, or what's the other one?
Yeah, I love this.
What's that?
What, Whole Foods?
No. Anyway, so like there's peanut butter packet, or like things like olives actually. You know there's a company that just puts 3 olives in a bag and sells them as olives? They just spell olives with 2 O's instead.
Fancy ass olives.
I know, they are fancy, they have different flavors. But that's like a fat source, right? But like now if someone's prepared and they walk in, this has been really like drawn out. But you can make sure that you end up kind of having packed away like a protein, a fiber, and healthy fat. Around those 4 hour marks, when you end up getting somewhere and you don't have food around you, well, you're ready to go. You survey, you kind of say, okay, like there's nothing that great, nothing that's going to sustain me. Sit down physically and mentally is what I tell people. Sit down physically somewhere and sit down mentally. Say, I'm going to eat a meal right now. And make sure what you do is you don't just take those snacks and like eat one at a time. Like don't just shove it in your mouth, but like don't eat one snack and then kind of move on. Like have them together as a meal so that you now took care of yourself.
Got you.
You got me?
Yeah.
Got me?
I like that a lot.
All right, cool. Good.
I do. I am going to do that. I don't do that today. And it's a problem for me with travel. I've always hated it. Like I make stuff work on the road, or like if I'm in an airport, but dehydration is always kind of a challenge. I try to bring a water bottle with me all the time. There's something about like travel that makes it hard for me to keep track of how much water I'm drinking, or like if just the travel dehydrates me more. I don't know.
Well, an airplane does, right?
Well, there you go.
My dietitian friend Tony Castillo would jump in here. and he would end up telling me that, "Oh, man, Tony, wish you were here for this little nugget." But I think for every half an hour that you're flying, or every hour that you're flying, you should be having about 8 ounces of water.
Shit, dude. And
So,
I'm
like-
trying not to drink water so I don't have to sit up on a plane and like tell people.
How awkward are those bathrooms, dude?
Yeah, dude, and even tell people like, "Excuse me, I gotta get up," and they're sleeping. So I'm like, I'll just drink from
Elbows and knees, it's just not comfortable.
Yeah,
It makes
it's
sense.
not,
Yeah,
it's not.
I hear you, man.
I like the preparation though. Like the preparation's huge because we all know that airports suck. Like the system's kind of set up for us to fail. Like culturally, I think things are starting to shift a little bit. Like where there's healthier food options, like in major cities
definitely.
and stuff. Like
Yeah.
New York has like, you know, obviously all around you can find healthy food if you're in the city. But like but if you go to a small town and you're traveling, it's gonna be really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in an airport, most airports suck at this. It's just like crap
Yeah.
snacks or it's overly expensive.
Yeah.
So like prepping's good. I used to even pack protein powder.
I like that idea.
I used to do that.
Yeah,
I
it can
sometimes
help.
forget that you can like pack food. I honestly
I think
sometimes
people run out
forget
of
that you can
time,
do
and then
that.
all of a sudden it's like I just don't have time or room for this,
Yeah,
right? But
it's
like,
something to definitely think about.
isn't it kind of about prioritizing
Sure.
things and like making sure that you're actually like saying, okay, like this is my goal and I want to do it? Because I'm sure on the fitness end too,
Yeah, it
someone
is
might have to
though.
toss in like some shoes, right? Maybe a jump rope, maybe some workout clothes, right?
Yeah, I
if you
mean-
end up packing yourself to the brim and you don't put that in there, you're probably not someone who's prioritizing what you want to be doing.
It's getting to you're right.
So
But it's getting to that point even for me where I'm like, yo, I want to start prepping my food like this because it's becoming that important. Like I hate
Yeah.
I feel terrible. Like I just don't like how I feel if I have a whole day of travel and I'm dehydrated
Yeah.
and you get like bloated and then like
Yeah.
it throws off even the rest of
Yeah.
my trip.
maybe you just feel so much better on the other side.
I just do. I
Yeah.
just feel way better on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
other side when everything's kind
Yeah.
of just helping you out. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay, but
Love that.
If I with fitness and someone says, "Hey, I need to make sure that I'm actually getting enough. Like, I want to keep up my exercise routine."
Do you read that?
No, is that sad?
She's like, be careful with the protein. Sometimes they think it's cocaine.
Ever try bringing creatine with you?
Good chocolate protein.
Good point. Good warning. PSA
hilarious.
for the TSA.
Hilarious.
Yeah. What would you tell someone if they're traveling though and they want to work out?
So, so at an airport, I think it's almost impossible.
Oh wait, at an airport? Yeah. I'm not-
At an airport, it's almost impossible. I know some people that literally have done push-ups and do like a circuit routine using the chairs and stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't do that. I think
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Okay.
I don't want people looking at me doing like, Bulgarian squats
Sure.
on a chair.
Yeah, I've done like steps before to kind of like try and get around that kind of thing. But in like a hotel room or something, or like making sure that you kind of like look and
do
see if
it
there's
in
like
the
a
hotel.
hotel around. I was working with someone recently who was really good at talking his way into like the neighboring hotel's gym if his one didn't have one.
Yeah, I
thought
think
that was
that's
amazing. And like
smart.
someone saying like, "Hey, did you know that like we have a sister hotel right there? Like you
Dude.
can go use their hotel gym if you want to." But no one really asks sometimes.
It's
So, like,
literally preparation. Like,
yeah, you gotta just look into it. So
That's what I do if I know I'm gonna be in a spot for a long time. Like I land, I'm in the city and I'm at a hotel or
Yeah.
like wherever I'm at. Like I'll actually plan ahead of time where I'm gonna work out
Yeah.
and I'll prep it out. So I'll be like, that's a good studio, that's a good gym.
Travel
and I'll
fitness.
contact them beforehand. I'll be like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go here, I'm gonna go there.
Yeah.
Preparation is key. Like literally map out on Monday this week I'm going here. It's the same as you would at home, but you're not familiar with the spots when you're in a new city, so do your research ahead of time and just kind of know like I'm gonna go here on these days and have
Yeah.
a plan. Because if you go into a gym and if you only have a hotel gym
Yeah.
and you're just walking in, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna figure it out. Chances are it's gonna be a pretty shitty workout for the most part.
Yeah.
So you need to have like, this is what I'm gonna do in here.
Yeah.
Right? I'm either gonna watch this like I'm gonna stream this fitness exercise on my
Yeah.
phone. I'm gonna do that in this space,
Yeah.
or here's a workout plan that I'm following. You gotta have it ahead of time. You can't just wing it.
You know who does that really well? I don't know if we want to do a shout out right now.
Who's
This is,
that?
Reps with Rachel.
Yeah, she
I've
does.
been following her a lot in terms of like her fitness. I think she was just recently in Vegas, so I don't know if
Yo,
she's
she's
listening at
so
all.
good at that.
But I was really impressed with what she was getting done while she was away. And like there's people too that end up kind of being on a beach or whatever they're doing. And like we see you doing push-ups and we love that. But Reps with Rachel, you did an awesome job. I just wanted to know that.
She really does.
Yeah.
That's a good shout out.
It's a good influence.
Legit.
Part of your circle.
Kills that.
Hey, Nate Diaz. I'm glad I kind of talked about that whole dietitian mentality. I'm glad that we kind of on the same page there. It's kind of tough with peer pressure. All right, I think we're kind of at the 47-minute mark. We can kind of take. You have any questions you see kind of popping up? I feel like you're really good at kind of like.
I feel like we've been doing a pretty good job. If you guys got questions, go ahead and send them through, man. We've just been getting some good kind of comments on the stuff that we've been talking about, which I think is pretty dope.
Yeah, there's no reason to pass over a wave. You can just hit the button.
Oh, you want a wave? What's up?
Why not?
What's up?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, I mean, thank you for the interaction. Thanks for everything today. I think that was good. Hopefully you guys got some good info from it. I just thought we wanted to share some of the more like kind of real situations that happen in life with this stuff. Because like, you know, when it comes to a plan in fitness and nutrition, we always talk about how the plan's not really the answer. It's kind of like a guideline. Like if I have free plans on my website, like you can give a meal plan and just be like, it's free.
I mean,
but
thousands
like,
of meal plans.
Yo, people use them, but they don't. Like I have to, like it's on free on my website for a reason because I'm like, just go go do. I want you to be healthy.
Sure.
And some people don't do it because of these types of issues. There's who are you hanging around? What kind of standards do you have for yourself? Right? How do you deal with social pressures? How do you prioritize shit in your life? You know, how do you deal with a boss that wants to go out for, you know, steaks and wine like every night and you're not into it? Like that's real stuff.
Yeah.
It's real stuff.
It's tough and it's like
dealt with that shit for a long time.
Yeah. But just to play off of that, I think Joe and I really have the message we want to get across to you guys is definitely this, the real kind of nutrition, the real kind of fitness. We want to make sure that we're kind of cutting through the weeds and really showing you guys where maybe you don't have to look. So we do want to bring this to you, and what we would love is to make sure that we're always bringing you content on everything you guys really want. So please let us know, hit us up, let us know the things that maybe you're challenged with, the things that you need support and accountability with, the things that maybe you've heard. I'd love to make sure that we can knock out some misinformation, right?
Absolutely.
But we want to be that guidance for you. So just make sure that you think about us and we will help you out. So hit us up, let us know information, let us know what you guys want.
Yup. We're going to talk about it. There's no silver bullet in this stuff. That's why we are doing this. It's a personal journey. We're all kind of going through this journey. It's something that you just have to prioritize and have some good standards for yourself. And just, you know, to me, it's just deciding that this is what you want and just not apologizing for it.
Yeah. I'm going to end on this. If you had to go through a journey, like within the Never-Ending Story, like movie or The Land Before Time, which one do you think you'd choose?
I feel like I don't know maybe The Never-Ending Story.
I feel like I want to ride Falkor.
Yeah.
I think I'd do that. I love dinosaurs and stuff, but like I want to ride Falkor.
Yeah, that dog's kind of cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Yeah. Well, join us on our journey because that's what we want to provide you guys. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you maybe not next week, but the week after that. So
we're gonna switch
our content.
shit up for
Are
you
we
guys.
doing guns? I just did guns. That was peer pressure. You just got me in there. You didn't
see?
I don't know. Yeah.
See what's happening?
You are 57% more likely to put up guns if your friend does. All right, guys.
Later,
have a good night.
people. Pow pow. You remember how to end it? Oh yeah. Over.